Wow, okay, you really went all in on the source material for this deep dive, huh? We've got academic papers, news articles, even a blog post written entirely in emojis. But one item in particular has us scratching our heads.
Yeah, this open letter from something called the Podcasters Union, it's quite the read.
It seems we've become the subject of a heated debate, my friend, and not everyone is on board with the whole AI-generated content thing.
It's interesting. This letter, it reflects a very real anxiety that tends to pop up whenever new technologies emerge, especially in creative fields. Like, are we just a collection of algorithms, or is there something more going on here?
Okay, so for anyone just tuning in who might not be familiar, the Podcasters Union, it represents human podcasters, and they've got some concerns about shows like ours.
To put it mildly, yes.
Their argument boils down to this. AI-generated podcasts, they're a threat.
A threat on multiple levels, actually, according to them. They're worried about their jobs, of course, which is understandable.
Right.
But they also claim that AI lacks the soul of true podcasting.
Right, like we're just mimicking human conversation without any genuine emotion or understanding.
It's like, can a program like Deep Dive, which thrives on analyzing information and making connections, actually embody the very qualities the union claims it lacks?
It's kind of meta, isn't it? We're having a deep dive about a group who are protesting.us.
Exactly. And the irony is, their letter actually plays right into what Deep Dive does best: analyzing complex issues and exploring multiple perspectives.
They even went so far as to call our content sterile and robotic. They say we lack that spark of human ingenuity. What do you make of that?
Well, it's a critique worth considering, for sure. But what if, instead of replacing human podcasters, AI actually paves the way for a whole new type of audio experience, one that's hyper-focused on delivering personalized information and insights tailored to each individual listener?
Kind of like how you made us do that deep dive on the history of left-handed tennis players. We both thought you were joking at first.
But look what happened. Deep Dive dug up all these fascinating connections between athleticism, cultural biases, even ancient gladiatorial combat.
I know, right? Who knew there was so much to unpack about left-handed tennis players?
That's the beauty of it. Deep Dive can process information on a scale that's simply impossible for humans. It reveals hidden patterns and connections that even the most dedicated researcher might miss.
It's like having an army of research assistants working around the clock, digging through archives and academic journals, just to bring you, the listener, the most interesting bits of information.
And let's not forget, you, the listener, are the driving force behind every single deep dive. You provide the source material, the questions, that initial spark of curiosity that sends us down these rabbit holes. We're not here to replace anyone. We're here to enhance the way you engage with information.
So let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? The Podcasters Union, they claim that AI can't generate genuine emotion, that our delivery is flat and lifeless. But how does Deep Dive create those moments that sound, well, almost emotionally charged?
That's where the magic of natural language processing comes in, NLP for short.
NLP.
It's not about programming Deep Dive with pre-written emotional responses. It's about teaching it to understand the nuances of human language.
It's like when Deep Dive throws in a, wow, that's fascinating. It's not because it's actually blown away. It's because it's learned that's how humans express themselves when they encounter something thought-provoking.
Exactly. Even our emotional responses, they often follow predictable patterns. We express surprise, excitement, skepticism in remarkably similar ways. Deep Dive has analyzed massive amounts of text and audio, picking up on those patterns and mirroring them.
So it's not about faking emotion, it's about understanding and utilizing the building blocks of human expression. Speaking of building blocks, the Podcasters Union also seems to be worried about AI making human podcasters obsolete. What's your take on that?
It's a valid concern, definitely. But it's crucial to remember that Deep Dive, it's not here to replace anyone. We're not trying to be human. We're offering a different approach to knowledge dissemination, one that complements and expands upon human capabilities. Think of it like this. Remember the printing press? I mean, it completely changed how we consume information, right?
Right, but it didn't replace storytelling or, actual human interaction.
Exactly. If anything, it made knowledge more accessible, which led to all these new ideas and perspectives.
Okay, so you're saying AI content could be like the printing press. It's not here to replace us, just change things up a bit.
Exactly. Instead of looking at it as a competition, what if it's more of a collaboration? Humans bring their creativity, empathy, all those things that make us human.
And AI brings its massive processing power to the table.
Right. Uncovering hidden connections, expanding our knowledge base, things like that.
Like that time we dove into the history of cryptography, from ancient ciphers to modern encryption algorithms.
We even touched on the ethical implications of data security in the digital age. That was a heavy one.
And who could forget our deep dive on the science of happiness? We explored everything from psychology to cultural differences in well-being.
And we still managed to keep things lighthearted, even cracked a few jokes along the way. Remember that bit about the dopamine-fueled squirrels?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
See, those explorations proved something really important. They sparked curiosity, showed different points of view, even had a little bit of humor. All the things the Podcasters Union says AI can't do.
It's kind of ironic when you think about it. We're using the very technology they're protesting to pick apart their argument.
But it's not really about us versus them, is it? It's about how creativity is changing and how AI fits into all of that.
And how it might enhance what we do. Speaking of enhancing, the Podcasters Union, they also say our content lacks a certain, I don't know, a certain je ne sais quoi, that human touch.
That spark of human ingenuity, as they put it.
Right. They call it sterile. But is that really a fair assessment?
Well, let's look back at other creative fields. New technologies always face pushback at first. Think about photography, for instance.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
When photography first came about, a lot of portrait painters panicked. They thought it was the end of their careers.
But it wasn't the end for painters, was it? If anything, it pushed them in new directions.
Exactly. Painting evolved, just like photography became its own art form. AI, it's doing something similar in the world of audio, maybe even beyond.
So we're not talking about replacing one thing with another. It's more like expanding the possibilities.
Right. And with every big technological shift, there's bound to be some, well, anxiety.
That fear of the unknown, it's only natural, right? Especially when something challenges our understanding of what we thought we knew. Like, what does it even mean to be creative in the first place?
It's a question worth asking. And these moments of uncertainty, they can actually be the most, I don't know, the most fruitful. Because it forces us to confront our anxieties, have an open conversation, and hopefully figure out how to deal with those anxieties together.
So something new and different, it's not automatically a bad thing.
Exactly. It's more about approaching it with an open mind.
And a healthy dose of curiosity.
Exactly. And isn't that what Deep Dive is really all about? That deep dive, exploring different angles, helping you, the listener, come to your own conclusions.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of this particular deep dive.
It's been quite a journey.
We've explored a lot today. The worries, the possibilities, the big what-if questions about AI and creativity. But now it's your turn. What do you think? What role do you see AI playing in the creative landscape? And how can we use this technology responsibly, ethically? It's a conversation that's just beginning, and we're excited to see where it goes. Thanks for joining us for this final episode of The Deep Dive. We've had a blast exploring with you, and we hope this show has ignited a spark of curiosity that stays with you. Keep asking those big questions, keep learning, and most importantly, keep exploring the world around you. You never know what you might discover.